Evening all, Daniel Hand, RPG therapist, and this week I thought we'd take a look at what is a very important topic for any and all therapeutic interventions, namely ethics, and see how we might behave ethically with our clients while utilizing RPG therapy. Now, this is obviously a rather large subject, and there's no way I'm going to be able to cover every aspect of it in a single 10-minute video. But, we can give it a go and see how we end up. Ready? Cool. So, first thing to acknowledge is that the ethical guidelines you subscribe to will depend very much on the professional body of which you are a member. Over here in the UK, an individual who wants to work in the mental health field as a counsellor, therapist, etc., is expected to sign up with an official accrediting body, which will oversee their practice and essentially provide a guarantee to prospective clients that this individual knows what they're doing. I know over in the US there is a different system, and presumably other countries have their own distinct setups too. But the point remains that it behoves the practitioner to understand and work within the confines of their particular body's ethical policies. Those policies are designed both to promote best practice amongst members and, more importantly, to keep clients and prospective clients safe. And it also goes without saying that these ethical considerations apply regardless of your professional modality, RPG or no RPG. We work in a very delicate profession, and it's all too easy to do or say something that might negatively impact our client's mental health. So we really need to keep our attentions focused on helping our clients and on keeping them and their mental health as safe as possible from us as much as the world outside of the therapeutic environment. So, yeah, job one, day one, familiarize yourself with your respective body's ethical guidelines. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to take a look specifically at the BACP, the British Association of Counselling and Psychotherapy's ethical framework for the counselling professions, link somewhere below. The BACP is easily the biggest accrediting body in the UK, so odds are more of you will be familiar with this framework than, say, that of the UKCP. Now, the ethical framework is a 27-page document, so I won't have time to pick the whole thing apart. If you'd like me to explore the whole thing in a bit more detail, by all means let me know in the comments. But for today, I'm just going to focus on Section 5 of Ethics, the BACP Core Ethical Principles. Hopefully, that will give us a sufficient overview of the topic without requiring us to quit our day jobs. So, the first core principle of the ethical framework, being trustworthy, honouring the trust placed in the practitioner. We all know that the therapeutic relationship is the key contributing factor to the success or otherwise of a client's therapy. Get it quote unquote right, and we can be reasonably confident that we'll help them get where they need to be. Get it wrong, and everybody's in for a frustrating time. And a key factor in developing that relationship is in developing trust. We do this by, well, essentially by adhering to the rest of these principles and demonstrating to them that we are, in fact, trustworthy. In terms of being RPG therapists, we can do this, for example, by adhering to any boundaries you agree upon regarding the game and the story, keeping particular topics out of adventures, being consistent with the mechanics or rulings, that kind of thing. If they can trust us not to cheat and to respect their creative preferences, it'll help them learn to trust that we won't go around blabbing about their issues. Core principle number 2, autonomy. Respect for the client's right to be self-governing. You achieve this by making sure the client has overall control of both the creative process and the issues you consider via said creative process. Autonomy is about letting the client decide, And that applies to things like genre, tone, character creation, in game choices, whatever, just as much as it applies to their choices in their own lives. We allow for such autonomy by familiarizing ourselves with various genre tropes, learning new mechanics, and improving our ability to tell a therapeutic story that will engage the client, rather than demanding that they engage with our game of choice. By meeting them on their territory, we are giving them that authority, that autonomy. Core principle number 3, beneficence. A commitment to promoting the client's well-being. Hopefully, I don't have to say too much here. Our job, after all, is to help our clients, and if we're not doing that, we really ought to start looking for a different line of work. When we use RPGs with our clients, it needs to be because, in our professional opinion, we can reasonably expect RPGs to help facilitate change within those clients. Simple as. If we think there would be a better means of helping a particular client, then our job is to adopt that approach. Our clients' needs remain paramount, which means that we have to remain aware of when RPG therapy both is and isn't an appropriate intervention. Core principle number 4, non-maleficence. A commitment to avoiding harm to the client. And yes, this is the big one. I've spoken previously about the fictional frame's ability to create just about anything we can imagine, and this gives us unrivaled opportunity to present our clients with any number of potentially healing scenarios. But it also means we run the risk of presenting them with any number of potentially harmful scenarios. Sure, there are some inherent safety mechanisms in place. It's the character, not the client, who's taking the risks, and of course, the scenario is entirely imaginary. But any carelessness on our part runs the risk of hindering the therapeutic process at best, or at worst, even going so far as actually re traumatizing the client. So it really behoves us to remain alert to those potential risks and to assess every story or adventure before dropping our clients into the middle of it. If the scenario you're envisaging would carry an R rating at the cinema, probably best to try something else. Core principle number 5, justice. The fair and impartial treatment of all clients and the provision of adequate services. I think this is where RPG therapy actually one-ups many of the more traditional forms of intervention. I've often said that a core strength of RPG therapy is its ability to engage clients who would otherwise struggle to sit with the thoughts and feelings the therapeutic process digs up. And this means that by helping those clients access therapy, we ensure that that impartial, adequate service reaches more clients. And as long as we approach each client as an individual and let their game, their story guide their individual therapy, as opposed to, shoehorning their issues into an inappropriate adventure, we're committing to the sense of justice and equality for our clients. Core principle number 6, self-respect. Fostering the practitioner's self-knowledge, integrity, and care for self. We do that already, right? What are you looking at me for? I totally self-care good. But yeah, for me, playing RPGs socially is a form of self-care. They brought me friendships, give me hours of enjoyment, both in terms of play and in just reading the books. And they give me things to look forward to, like conventions, new dice, and always one more adventure. And I'm always learning, writing for this channel, researching for books, exchanging ideas with wonderfully geeky colleagues. As long as we're always on the lookout for ways to improve our practice as RPG therapists and operating within our abilities, we're abiding by this ethical principle. And that, very briefly, is that how to be an ethical RPG therapist. Again, this is obviously a very brief discussion, and I'll happily do more videos on this topic if there's a call for it. But for now, at least, this'll do. But what do you think? What, to your mind, are the most important ethical considerations, apart from, all of them, to take into account as part of RPG therapy? Let us know in the comments below. While you're down there, please do like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. You'll also find links to my book, Role Playing Games in Psychotherapy, a Practitioner's Guide, and my newsletter handwriting. Everyone, as usual, thank you so much for watching this video. I really look forward to speaking with you again next week. So until then, take it easy, don't do anything I wouldn't do, and have a good one. Cheers.